I'm Janice, and today I'm going to show you my retro room. This was built by my husband Dave in 5 years ago. Was it 5 years ago?
4 and a bit.
4 and a bit years ago. Because I used to collect things and I used to have them in boxes and bags, and he said one day, I'm just fed up with this. He said, look, I'm going to take the children's playhouse down because all the grandchildren had outgrown all that, and I'm going to build you a retro room. Oh, I said, that's good. I like that. I like that idea. So anyway, with that, he got building, and we got given these double doors by my cousin Paul Page of Lowestoft, and he built it round that. Just built the whole thing, and from then on I just start collecting and displaying. I don't know why I do it, but I just like it. It's my hobby and I love it. And so today we've got the camera crew in. Mr. John David Large.
Hiya.
Would you like me to show you round? You would? Right, here we go then. They walk off like this. That's what they do on. Is that all right?
Yeah.
I was a teenager in the 60s, which I feel really privileged, and the band at the time was the famous four, the Beatles. And I'll start here because this is one of my most expensive things I've ever bought for this room, and I paid £60. £60 for this Beatles calendar. 6 shillings. That's about 50, 60 pence, I should think. And I paid £60. Let's look. Oh, he was my favourite. That's George. He was my favourite Beatle. He's lovely, isn't he? Shame he died. There's Paul. He look a bit different to that nowadays, don't he? I don't know who else anyway. That's one of my favourite things in my room. They started an Apple label because they were trying to make money, but it didn't actually work. This is the Beatles' own Apple label, and they didn't do that till 1967. And I just love it. I got this from a charity shop for £1. Chuffed? Oh, I was chuffed with that. It's lovely, isn't it? Let's get back. Get back to where you belong. And what I would really love to do, I'd love to have a real Beatles jacket or a tie or something to do with the Beatles. That would be the business. But anyway, that's it. That's all I've got at the moment. And it's all the Beatles from 1964. But £60. 60? We're still in the 60s. This is some of my 1960s makeup. For anyone who's like my age, you'd remember this sort of thing. This was from Woolworths. Can you remember Woolworths in the 60s? Well, look at this. This is the mascara. Can you remember this? And what we used to do, we used to spit in there, do that, and then do that. How unhygienic, but oh, isn't that lovely? So that was from Woolworths, and this is a genuine 1940s lipstick, never been used, and that lovely. It really is heavy. And then you get that, and here's the 1960s one. Look, plastic, but look at the colour, and it's got the little thing here, what you pull up like that. Look at that colour. It's just absolutely, and it's Pond's, and that was a really good make, and that was a make my mum used to use all the time, Pond's cream. And then look at this. This is Pond's as well. Pond's face powder. It's even got the film still on it. It's just lovely. And then the 1960s powder compact. Yeah. To finish that off. Isn't that just lovely? And the eyeshadows. Oh, and there's some rouge. That's That's the 40s though, 1940s. That's rouge. And you used to do that and like that to make you look healthy. So that's, oh, and then would you like to just hear about this brooch? Here I am, I'm still 14, 1964, and I got a weekend job. It's in a little cafe, and I was allowed to make the ice cream sundaes and the salads, wash the lettuce. And my first weekend wage, which was about £1 10 shillings, which was £1.50, I bought my mum, this little brooch. Look, and she wore it for everything, and it was only about 3 years before she died. She said, "There, Jazz, you have that, put that in your brooch collection." And that cost me 5 shillings and 11 pence. Isn't that lovely? There's lots of nice memories with that. When Jessica went to work abroad, as soon as I could contact her. So I had 17 years ago. And so I bought this, look, this. And I've only had one since. But I thought that's a nice story.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise I wouldn't have had a mobile phone.
Yeah.
Right, should I sit down here?
Oh, no.
This was Mum's cabinet, and I distressed it. And I thought, I know what I can do with that. I can put my dolls in that. And these are some of my dolls what I've dressed. This one I had donated to me by a lovely lady called Beverly, and she had that in 1947, and I redressed her, and I called her Dottie. There she go. Have you got her? That's her fashion show. That's your fashion show, Dottie. That's Dottie. And then there's this one. This was from the charity shop, and I got her for £5. But again, I dressed her in a 1960s fashion, and I made this and the skipping rope, and I've called her Ada, because my mum was called May Ada Rose. Yes, so that's, I'd never dressed a doll like that before. And then, oh, I think he's got a bit stuck. Oh, I bought Ada and Alfie for £10 for the pair of them. They're sort of like 70 years old, and I absolutely love them. I made his little hat, and I tried to make him in like a 1950s little boy. And there's his catapult and his long, look, and his braces. And I just love them. I just love dolls. Some people are really frightened of them because they watch these horrible films, and I don't watch films. And then when I was on the post round, I made this. And I made that because I thought, oh, I don't know, in a few years' time there ain't going to be such a thing as a uniform for a postman. And there isn't. Look how smart he is. He's got a tie, everything. A letter. And so I actually made that whole doll. One day I had this young couple come in, and they come in with this cardboard box and said, and the bloke said, "Hey, our mother, that's for you. Do what you like with it. You can either sell it, get yourself some money, keep it, do what you like with it." So anyway, I opened up this box, and in it was some clothes, and I went and got the tailor's dummy, and I put it on, and this is it. This is it. If anyone can remember the 2012 London Olympics, can you remember all the Mary Poppins come flying over? Well, this was one of them. And look, can you see that? Can you see that? Clots. And what I like about this is if you turn it around, look, that's where the wire went when they was hanging up. Anyway, it was John, my son John, and my daughter-in-law Trace. They got me this, and it's one of my prize things. I just absolutely adore it. I made the hat, and excuse me, and Dave made the umbrella, Mary Poppins umbrella, because we did that in the production. So on there, I'll use my umbrella. And look, there they are. That was when they actually flew over London. And this is one of them actual costumes. And I just absolutely adore it. I do absolutely adore it. So thank you, John. Thank you, Trace. This is my hairdressing collection. I haven't got much dressing collection yet, but this, everything used to come in cases, where nowadays they come in boxes with polystyrene and that's it. But this, I love this case. Look, and in it is the hairdryer with the hood, where you could stand at the sink. Every housewife could stand at the sink, wash up and still get their hair dried. The hood is all in there and everything. Isn't that lovely? When the children were little, I used to go out and do home hairdressing. I'm not a qualified person, but I can do it. So, and I used to have my perm curlers, and I've still got my perm curlers. Look, they're my old perm curlers in here. You know, how can you get rid of these things? So that's it. They're my perm curlers. I used to do Mum's and Auntie Brenda's. And this one, I'm sure a lot of people can remember me actually using something like this. This is 1970s, my hairdryer. I used to put that on the back of my bike where Jessica used to be. Jessica used to sit in the seat. I'd take her to play school, then I'd put this in and go and do all the little ladies' hair. Look, a tabletop hairdryer. Who can remember that? You can, can't you? I think the cameraman can.
I think you need to sit under it.
Could I have a magazine, please? Thank you. When Ian done my little bit for a minute and a half, he reckoned I was made for the camera. This is a 1960s Dan set, which I bought from a well-known auction site. Look at that, isn't that lovely? Auntie Brenda came and she cleaned it up for me. And whether I can get this to play, look. Ta-da! It's got quite a long intro, but I'll sing it to you if you wish. Pardon me, boys, at the Chattanooga choo-choo. Line 49. Give me a line. Pardon me, boys, at the Chattanooga choo-choo. Choo-choo. Give me a blue. I may be a good actress, but I'm not a singer.
No.
We can't be good at everything. As you all know, I love to sew. I was looking at
This way.
Sorry, I'm looking at the light. As you all know, I love to sew, not to sing. This was given to me by my Auntie Brenda, who belonged to her neighbour. Look, it's an antique. It's 1890 to 1900, the little sewing set. But inside there is this gorgeous little thing. It's a little purse, and in there is a thimble. Now you might not think, oh, it's only a thimble, but that was my Nanny Bishop's. That was my mum's needle.
Thimble.
Thimble. thimble, what she used to darn all my uncles and my mum's socks with. It's just amazing.
How long ago was that?
Well, 90 years, at least 90 years ago. So it's really, really nice. And these are nice, look, all my old sewing needles and things. Sewing Susan. Look. That's cute. All these little sewing needles. And then we go on to here. Now, I don't know whether you can see this, but this here, it was embroidered by my Auntie Brenda, my mum's sister, when she was 11 years old, and Auntie Brenda is now 86. And this one was embroidered by my Auntie Barbara. That's Mum's old sister. Well, if she'd have been living, she would be about 105 now. But isn't that just absolutely lovely? This I bought for Mum in the 60s, because we always used to buy Mum hankies, and my nanny. And I think it's got, it's 2 shillings. 2 shillings on there. That's 10 pence. That was always a Mother's Day present or Christmas Day. Anyway, she said to me one day, you can have them, go and have a look in the drawer. And anyway, when I looked in the drawer, this was in there, this box. And in it was more hankies. And she'd put for Janice. She'd left it to me. But she was there at the time. I said, oh Mum, you put for Janice. Yeah, they're for you, girl Jazzy. You can have them for your collection. And then this one, I keep saying I love it, but I do. I really do love it. This is what you would see on the corner of a haberdashery counter. All these little individual hankies. This would be 1960s. Look, and we'd buy these. You'd buy them for your mum, for Mother's Day. Buy one of them, or for their birthdays. And it's just lovely. So that's my hanky collection. And then a lady from the RSPCA, she came round and saw these. She said, I've got some. And she gave me these. These are over 100 years old. These beautiful silk handkerchiefs. And they're nice of her. And I also collect buttons. So I managed to get this little set from the RSPCA charity shop for £1.50. And inside, I've got all, look, unusual shape vintage buttons. And there's small vintage buttons, mother of pearl, sequins, vintage shoe buttons. I will just show you those ones because they are very, very unusual. I think this is the best one. Look at these. These is what they used to have in the very olden days on the front of your shoes. And there are also little glove buttons in there as well. The ladies used to have glove buttons on their long elbow gloves. And I just thought that was ideal to put my little buttons in. Do you like that idea? Yeah. And then all these sort of things. I mean, these not necessarily old. We're talking about 1990 for these, but they're really nice to go with all my fashions. Then I got this. This is 1960s. Isn't that sweet? Nuts in May, da 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 da. That's cute. And then now I will go on to show you this. Last year, my friend Penny from Inglethorpe, she came over and she said, oh, I know you like sewing, Jazz, so would you like my mum's sewing machine? I've really looked after it. I've looked after it. It's over 50 years old. In fact, that's got to be more than 50 years old. Would you like it? And I thought, well, I've got nowhere to put it. But yes, yeah, thank you, thank you. Anyway, when I opened it, the whole thing underneath the needle, the plate, was missing. So there was no way you could actually sew on that machine. So I looked at it and I thought, as I'm into miniature dolls' houses, I thought, I wonder what we could do with that. So anyway, Dave stripped it out. Here it is. It's an old Singer. And if you keep an eye on that, this is what we done. There you go. We made it into a vintage wedding dress shop. And there's all the things. I don't know whether you can see in there, can you? And I made all the dresses. So once we, Dave revarnished all this, and he had to cut this bit out, and this was the worst thing, because as it's been in that position for well over 120 years or whatever, it was hard to keep it in that position. Anyway, he done it like he would do. So I bought this singer, this little treadle, and then I tried to make it into a workshop of a wedding dress workshop. So you see the little ironing board and the veiling over there. It was all white, and I thought that wouldn't have been white. So I thought, I'm not buying dye because you'd have to put it in the washing machine or whatever. I soaked it in tea bags, and that's brought up that colour, because there's a white one there, look. And the white one doesn't look so vintage as that colour. And then I made all the little velts of material at the back there. The screen was part of the treadle at this machine. And look at these little shoes. And if you can see that little table at the back there, the little silver table, that was actually the knob to move the wheel of this machine. So that's really nice. And that is what it'd come out like. And it's gorgeous. And the owner has been and seen it, but I said she's not having it back. But isn't that just beautiful? That is just beautiful. And I'm going to say it, I love it. This is my mum, May Ada Rose Race, and this is taken in the 50s. Look at her lovely shoes and her dress. In fact, I have got one of her dresses here. This one. And I've actually got photos of Mum actually wearing that. Gemma's wore that for a fashion show once. And then, of course, this is Mum's sister, Aunt Brenda Page, but she's my auntie. Look, this is taken the same time in the 50s. Look at those shoes, aren't they lovely? Look, just absolutely gorgeous. And I'll show you one of Auntie Brenda's dresses. Auntie Brenda wore this. Auntie Brenda's now 86, and she wore this when she was 16. Look at this lovely belt. And the colour of it. Look, you'd think that was made today, wouldn't you? And it's all them years old. It's just absolutely gorgeous.
How old is it?
Well, she's 86 and she was 16 at 70 years old. 70 years old that was. And there's a genuine 1950s wiggle dress. They're the sort Marilyn Monroe would wear. Absolutely lovely.
What's a wiggle dress?
A wiggle dress is one what fitted the waist and fit tight on the hips, so when they walked, they wiggled. Like that. And that's why they're called a wiggle dress. This is a genuine 1970s dress. 1977 to be precise. I wore this. And I bought it from a place in Doggin called Roy's. It was a sort of grocery shop downstairs and clothes upstairs. And this is what I bought. It's a genuine 1970s. It's all lined. And look at this. Look at this little. Look, I wore that. These lovely sleeves. And this is a genuine 70s hat. Now this hat went to Buckingham Palace where my dad got the MBE, and my mum wore this when Dad got the MBE, and I went with him. Would you like to see me in it? There you go. That's it. I just joked. I joked. This is a genuine 1970s maxi dress. Look at the bright colours, and everything was big and floppy. Tight at the top and then all big and floppy there. With all the brighter the better. This is a genuine 1960s dress. Again, look at the side of that, this the mini dress. And this is a genuine 1960s coat. It's not real fur. I've put that in the washing machine. It's come up like that. Yeah, and 1960s glasses. And this is 1970s, a little hot pantsuit, look. I had that donated with the glasses. And the boots. The boots are not genuine, but I used them because I did a fashion show. But these are genuine stilettos. 1960 stilettos they are. Very nice. Yeah, and I've got this here. Whether I can just show you that, can I? And that's a 1950s bathing suit. Look, it's even got a metal zip in it. Again, I used that, we made that and for a fashion show we were doing, and for our RSPCA charity show event, which we raised £2,250. Thank you, everyone. Well, this chair, I envisaged a chair here so I could sit here and look down at the garden. But so we got this from a charity shop for £25, and then we covered it ourselves. We made the patches and Dave upholstered it, and this is what it turned out like. This was Gemma's doll, who she called Tanya when she was a little girl, and this Jessica wore when she was a baby. Our friends Val and Michael bought Jessica that when she was born. It's cute, isn't it? But this is modern, but I was up the lavender farm and I thought, oh, this is lovely. They were quite expensive and I thought, oh, I'm going to have him. The reason I had him is because he's called Alfie. And that was my treat. Isn't he gorgeous? Anyway, that's our chair. And I've put Vogue, there's a Vogue there and Vogue down there, and I'll tell you about that on the other wall.
So what inspired you to pick those materials?
There's 11 metres, 1 metre of every pattern, and we've done that shape and the small square. I've never done patchwork before in my life, and I just fancied the pinks and the purples, and this is what it turned out like. £25 chair, which we found £2.50 in the back of it, so good in it. Going back to Vogue on there, the reason is this was the Vogue from last year, and it was 100 year edition, 100 years this Vogue started, and that's Kate. And then a very old one. This is 1964 Vogue. I really wanted 1965 and I couldn't get it because that was the year I left school, so that meant a lot to me. So I got 64, which go well with the Beatles, so that was the front of the Vogue then. Very fashionable to have all this makeup. This is very similar to today's girls' eyebrows and lips. And talking about fashion, these were Mum's. Mum used to smoke, and when she gave up in the 70s, she kept her cigarettes, what she'd got left. And when I was doing this room, she said, have those. She said, because they're very fashionable. Because in the olden days, it was very fashionable to smoke. When the film stars used to light 2 cigarettes up at one time. They used to light 2 cigarettes up at one time and pass it to their lady. And she had 1 cigarette out there and put them in her drawer and never touched them again. There's a Diana and Charles matches. So that's quite a fashion thing, really. Well, it was then. Oh, and Dad used to smoke them players. So that's all to do with fashion. And this, Jessica got me that for Mother's Day last year, and I really like it, and I thought, oh, I'll be nice in here. Look at all the little bits of makeup and things. I thought it was very thoughtful. And have you got this in shot? This is a Daily Mirror newspaper folded up behind there. November the 30th, 1949. That was the day I was born. That's my memories in there. And these are two 1960s bead bags. I bought... Are you ready? Actually, I bought this from our village electrical shop. It was just an ordinary, I don't know what it was. It's just a time. Oh, you just had the time on. So Dave put that on, and this is Dave's very first record he ever bought, Jailhouse Rock by Elvis Presley. So I thought that'd just make it just nice. This gold bag, I had that donated to me, and it was donated by a lady in the village, and it belonged to her great aunt. And it's 1920s, and this lady was a right little goer. She used to go on all these cruises, and she met Elizabeth Taylor when she was using this bag. So Elizabeth Taylor has actually looked at that bag. So I really like that. I went to the church, and they'd got a wedding display on, and this was at the top. And I said, oh, I really like that. I wonder if I could. I'd love to have something like that in my retro room. So I wrote it on social media, and the lady who owned it said, would you like it? Oh, yes, please. And so I said, how much? She said, well, £25. Oh, I said, yeah, lovely. £25, and that's 1930s, look, a wedding cake topper. And she said, what I'll do, they were building the wall. Ivan Espley was building the wall around the church. And she said, and I'll donate £25, and that'll make that £50 towards the wall. So that's the story on that one. Auntie Brenda used to wear nylon stockings, and she said, you can have these, Jazzy. They're what I bought for myself right back in the late 50s, early 60s. And she said, I never wore them. I said, why didn't you ever wear them, Auntie Brenda? Well, she said, it's because I got married and had Paul, and I couldn't afford to wear nice dresses to wear with them, so I just put them in the drawer, and I think she wore socks. But then someone on social media came up for the village and said, my grandmother used to have a haberdashery shop. Is anyone interested in these things? Well, there were some knitting patterns and sewing patterns. So I popped round. She lived just behind me. And I brought them back to have a look through. And inside was this. It's a leather case. It says, a stitch in time saves a ladder. And inside, can you see that? Look, it's a little mending kit for stockings, and it's even actually got the threaded needle in it, look, rusty, and all these different colours to mend the stockings with. Look at that. This is lovely, and we're talking about, oh, I should think this is about 1945, 46. I think it's somewhere just after the war. A stitch in time saves a ladder. Who would use them now? Best to buy a new pair, innit? Now this little corner here is dedicated to a lot of this to do with Mum and Dad. I'll just take that off there for a minute because that's in the way. This is Mum when can you see that on the camera? Mum, and that was Mum with two of her sisters there. And this was my Nanny Bishop's, which Mum had, and then Mum let me have it. But this is the thing, this old mirror, when my dad was a prisoner of war, a Japanese prisoner of war, he used to shave in this every single day. Every single day he used to shave in this. And look at this, all battered around there. But it's something that's really, you know, someone could come in here and think, oh, that old mirror, whatever I want that old mirror for. Well, that means a lot to me, really does. And Dad was in the Royal Norfolks, the Royal Norfolk Regiment. That's the Royal Norfolks. My neighbour next door, she cross-stitched that for me. Yeah, little glasses. And this was Jeannie's mum's. This is sort of like 1950s, I should think. Look, it's all plastic and little things in there, look. Isn't that cute?
Higher.
Higher.
Much higher.
It's all plastic and it's really nice. That was Jeannie's mum's. It's really cute. Let's put that like that so we can shut it up. They don't make things like that these days. They just do not make things like that. Then I've got lace and all that sort of stuff there. So yeah, see, I'm not old. I'm vintage. I bought that from the post office. Because if you don't use the post office, it'll close, you know. If you don't use it, you'll lose it. This is an ostrich bag, 1930s. It was found in the Dorchester Hotel in London in 1930. Look, isn't that beautiful? Absolutely beautiful. And it got to our village charity shop. And I bought it and I paid £10 for that when I first had this room. And one lady who came to see me said, my father had that bag, and that was her father. This lady who it belonged to, her father used to work at the Dorchester, and so she gave him the bag. And that lady had put it in the charity shop and I bought it. That's the story of that lovely, lovely bag. Now this was an old pallet. And what Dave done, he cut the top off and I rubbed it down and painted it, and this is what it come out like. We just put some false things in the middle. Oh, I nearly knocked them. Oh, John, we'll have to do that again. There you go. Cut. This used to be an old pallet. And what Dave done, he cut it to size. And I said, oh, that make a really good shelf. So then we cut it and I painted it and rubbed it down and all that. And so this is what it turned out like. These are all my collections of all my lovely hat pins. It's just gorgeous. And these, when Mum died, there was a few things to go for the charity shop. And this was on the top of the box. And I thought, I just can't let them go to the charity shop. That's like 1950s they are. So I thought they look nice on there. And this is a 1967 transistor radio, which I got from the village car boot sale for £23. And it works. Well, Dave had to change the battery because it's an old battery. And that actually works. Yeah, so I'm really pleased. This, I had to put these in because that's part of the Grand Canyon. We brought that back from the Grand Canyon. There you go. He got me in that.
No. Right, go on then.
I was very, very lucky to have all these donated to me. 1900 and 1920. These ones, 1940 to 1950. I remember my mum wearing these in the 60s. And these are the 1960s to 70s. So I had no way of displaying them. So I bought these and Dave came up with this wonderful idea of actually putting wires so to hold them so they keep nice. Aren't they just lovely? I don't know. They don't make things like this these days. A couple of years ago on social media for our village site, someone said, does anyone want any of these? So I said to Dave, shall we have a couple of these? I'm sure we can make something out of them. So we went and got 4. Would you like to see what we made out of it? Yes?
Oh yes. A dog.
So this is what we made. We painted it and varnished it, and Dave had to cut the centres out, and then he made the things there, and then we bought all the, well, collected all the little bits and pieces to go on it. And if you can you see this tea set? This tea set I bought my mum and dad with my very first wages in 1965. Oh, I can't remember how much it was, but it was quite a lot of money out of my wages. But I knew Dad liked pheasants, so and then she gave that back to me a couple of years before she died. I'll just show you this. I don't know whether I'm going off. Oh no, I bought this from the charity shop, and I thought, what on earth is it? And do you know what that is? It's a handbag holder. So if you go out for a meal, you put that on there, and you hang your handbag on there rather than putting it on the floor. You know, for these people who pay thousands for their bags. And a lovely novel. Very novel. Really nice. It's really pretty. I'm going to come back as a magpie. And a little lady who I know, she knitted me the cakes because I knew I couldn't have real cakes. That's my 1990s bag at the back there, 1980s. And that bag, that's the bag Mum used to go to Buckingham Palace with Dad when he got his MBE. And I have put a little note in there to say what it's been used for. These are my powder compacts, which I've only really just started to collect. I've got 33 at the moment, but I've got some really special ones. This is my most special one because this one Dave bought me. That's the first thing he ever bought me 30 years ago. Isn't that lovely? I keep saying that, isn't that lovely? And the other one is this one. Look, a vintage early 1950s, owned by my mother May Race, given to me on the 10th of October 2016. Mum was then 96. I can remember Mum using this in the 50s. This one's really nice. This is an Art Deco one, and it's got a lipstick holder. You put your lipstick inside there. It's cute, cute. And this one, that's mother of pearl on there. This should come up there. Another Art Deco one there, little silver one. And this one was given to me. This is 1940s. So that's a wartime one, that is. So that's quite nice, isn't it? And there's a lot of handbag mirrors. This one is a handbag mirror, but it's 1970s. Bakelite. Yeah. It does look like a toilet seat. I think several of them look like a toilet seat. This little one, look at that. That's Art Deco. And this one's Art. This is another one I had donated to me. Oh, if I can open it. Very Art Deco with that, like that. Look. And Jeannie bought me this one. It's got a little handbag mirror. Charity shop. Several old ones there. So that's the start of my collection of these. Oh, nearly forgot. Harry and Meghan. I know that's new, but it's nice to have a few new things in as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just when you thought you'd seen enough, I'd just like to show you my last little collection. This is my brooch collection. I used to have them in little boxes and bags everywhere, but then Dave came home from work and he'd bought this little unit. So we've lined them all out. I know of an elderly lady called Beryl, and she used to collect, well, I think she still do, collect brooches. And I had a few. I think I had about 10 at the time. And she came over and saw my brooches, and I thought I'd got cool a lot. And she said, come and have a look at mine. So I went and had a look at hers. And with that, I started to collect. Now, the first thing she said to me was, I've got some brooches for sale. Would you like them? I said, oh, yes, let's have a look at them. Well, there was this lovely green one, this, and this. These three things. And Dave bought me those, and we paid £10. But if you look at this, if you see that lovely brooch against this one, the difference, you can see that one's really old and that's a new one. I don't like green, but I do love my green drawer. I love green drawers, you know. Then we come to my blue ones. Now in here I've got my favourite brooch of all time. It's this one. This one I think is absolutely gorgeous. Look at it, it just looks like it's dancing. And I got that from a well-known auction site, you know. And there's just one here, this was donated by Jeannie, and that belonged to her mum. When her mum died, Jeannie passed that down to me and said, would you like that for your blue collection? Which I did. That is really nice. Thank you, Jeannie. Then we come over to the whites. This is called a milkstone. This white is a milkstone, and I of course I like black and white. It's one of my favourite combinations. And this is a 80s to 90s brooch. You can see that by the huge shoulder pads. It's all sorts of things. And I do have several of the drama ones, the tragedy and comedy brooches to my collection. There's another nice one. I like anything to do with fashion or cats or anything. This one, they're all minks. They're old minks. I would never buy a new one. I would never buy a new mink brooch. But this is, look at her. She's absolutely gorgeous. Now I wore her a lot on a black lapel when I had my big black coat. She's stunning, absolutely stunning. And this, I'll just show you these. They're little clip-on earrings with a little brooch to match. Another Marilyn Monroe fashion that was, to have the mink earrings and the brooch. There's several here I could show, but I'll just bore you. Now this is my gold one. Now I've picked out the cheapest one of all. It's just 3 flowers I got from a charity shop. Again, it looks lovely on a beige hat. That looks really, really nice. I think the cameraman will do a close-up shot of these for you. Then there's the pinks. All of the granddaughters just love the pinks. I've got lots of little cats and things in there, but this is a very nice one. It's all gold. And I picked that up from a charity shop. It's antique. I think I paid about £5 for that, which is good. And I think Miss Ellie, she bought me that little cat one, which I treasure. Well, I treasure them all. And that's McGreen. I've been to McGreen. This one, I collected a lot of red ones. Can you see that? Or is that reflecting? And what I did, I put my fashion one in the middle and then added all the red ones. This one is really nice because it's all connected. Look, there's 3 together. It's real 1960s, that is. But I love that. I mustn't keep saying that I love it, but I do. I love it. This one I have hanging in my retro room because it's got all my fashion brooches on. That's silver, that one, and these are all shoes and anything to do with fashion. That was full of potpourri, you know. And then I got it for £1 from the charity shop. Took the potpourri out, put the bottoms in, and put that in there. Easy peasy. And this one, again, I had some diamante left over. I got the holder from the charity shop. This, I was in M&Co, and the girl behind the counter said, "Oh, I like your brooch." And I said, "Oh yeah, I collect brooches." She said, "I've got a brooch you can have. It was my mother's." So the next week I go in, and she gives me this one. It's just lovely. It was her mother's. Her mother just died and she gave me that for my collection. 1950s, that is. That's Jojo Coffee. Thank you, Jojo Coffee. Gave me that. And so I just put some more of my little bits in there. This one's very nice, this lovely one here, a little hand. Right, I'm into the gold ones now, but not real gold. First of all, I've got a lot of my other hobbies in this. This one is a doll's house because I also make doll's houses. And look, there's all the furniture in there. I would never wear it, but I had it bought me, and I think it's really nice that the lady bought it for me. And then I do like a little bit of art, and so I bought myself this little art thing. And of course I'm really into cats, and there's all my cat. I've got lots of cat brooches along the way. And this is a really good find from the charity shop. It's really old, and the reason that I know it's old because it's got a trombone fastener at the back. That's shaped like a trombone, so I reckon that's 1920s, 1930s. That did cost me £5, but well worth it. So, and there's all my little cats and things in there. Then we come on to red. Red's my favourite colour. I bought the poppy because of Poppy Day. I had to have one of them, didn't I? And then last year, because of the 100-year war, I bought that. So that was really nice. Lots of little cats, you know, all my little cats I've got here, all what I wear at Christmas time with the little earrings to match. None of them are really old, but they will be old, won't they? And then one of my favourites is this. These are lovely. These are Dorothy's shoes. Look. And they're what Jessica bought me when I was 60 from the Wizard of Oz. Lovely. Thank you, Jessica. And then just lastly in the red is this little pin. I don't know whether you can see that. Mickey Mouse pin all the way from USA. We bought that in America. You had to, didn't you? So that's it. And then I come on to my cameos. I haven't got many cameos, but I will show you my all-time favourite. And that's this one. It's a gold one. I like anything with a safety chain. But there's the little safety chain. And that was my grandmother's. That was my nanny's. And that was mum's. And how you know it's nice because you can actually see through it. It's just lovely. I cherish that. Then on to my diamante one, which again, anything bright on there. I should have been a magpie. That's what I'm coming back as, you know, a magpie. This is nice if you work in Specsavers. Little glasses. And look at these. These are genuine 1980s. The boys used to wear these. The boys used to wear these on their lapels of their suits and jackets in the 80s. There's another nice one. And then this one, don't know whether you can see that, but that my sister Joy bought me that for my 60th birthday, and it's silver. It's real Art Deco. Just wonder what she's going to get me for my 70th. Ooh, exciting. And I think that's it really for my brooches. In total, I did have a little add up, and I've got 620 brooches. Silly really, isn't it? But I love it. That's my little retro room. I hope you like it. I cannot thank Dave enough for building this. He came up with this funny little plan, so I'll make you a retro room. But all I could see was sitting in this chair with my dog by my side and my fashion books, looking down at the garden, and that wish has been accomplished. I just absolutely, I find this so relaxing in here. I love looking at everything and thinking about, you know, when it was made, who wore it, who used it. And I can't thank the charity shops in Hunstanton especially, the RSPCA and the Salvation Army and Heacham Charity Shop. They all know that I do this sort of thing, so they'll ring me up and say, oh, come on, look, I've got something here for you. And off I go, and here it is. Yeah, it's just lovely, and thank you ever so much. And I just want to prove to everyone who say that I'm a hoarder. I'm not a hoarder, I'm a collector. I really am a collector, as the bag says, but not this bag. So this is Janice Mary Curtis signing off, aged 69 3/4, August 2019. Thanks. Bye. Now, let's get on with more collecting. Should we call that a wrap then?
Step aside, partner, it's my day. Bend an ear and listen to my version of a really solid Tennessee excursion. Pardon me, boy, is that the Chattanooga Choo-Choo?
Yes, yes, track 29.
Boy, you can give me a shine.
Can you afford to board a Chattanooga choo-choo?
I got my fare
and just a trifle to spare.
You leave the Pennsylvania station about 4:45. Read a magazine and then you're in Baltimore.
Dinner in the diner, nothing could be finer
than to have your ham and eggs in Carolina.
When you hear the whistle blowing 8 to the bar, then you know that Tennessee is not very far.
Shovel all the coal in, gotta keep it rolling.
Ooh, ooh, Chattanooga, there you are.
There's gonna be a certain party at the station.
Satin and lace,
I used to call Funny Face. She's gonna cry until I tell her that I'll never roam.
So Chattanooga Chattanooga choo-choo.
Won't you choo-choo me home?
Chattanooga, Chattanooga.
Get aboard.
Chattanooga, Chattanooga.
All aboard.
Chattanooga, Chattanooga. Chattanooga choo-choo.
Won't you choo-choo me home?
Chattanooga choo-choo.